In this short video, all I want to do is show you a very simple way of comparing different fractions. In many exam questions they'll just say to you which fraction is bigger, this fraction or that fraction, or possibly they may give you a string of fractions all similar to these I've got in question 1 on the board here, and they may ask you to put them in rank order, smallest first, in other words put them in ascending order. I've seen another question which has said here is a list of fractions, which one of them is closest to, say, a half? And you have to say, out of the list of 6 fractions, which one is closest to the half. Okay, so let me show you what we do. If you want to compare different fractions so you can see how they compare in size, it's very straightforward. You must get all the fractions to have the same bottom line. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is simply rewrite this list of fractions. I'll put it's equal to, and I'm going to rewrite them as the same fractions but with all the same bottom line. Look at that, that's a 5, that's a 20 and that's a 2. So they're different types of fraction. What I'm going to do is work out what we call the LCM is, the lowest common multiple of 5, 20 and 2. In plain English that means the smallest number that 5, 20 and 2 will all go into. They all go into, well, if you think about it, 20. 2 goes into it 10 times, 20 goes into it once, and 5 goes into it 4 times. So the smallest number they go into is called the lowest common multiple, the LCM, which I'll write here. LCM is equal to 20, the lowest common multiple, and that's what I'm going to change the bottom lines to. Now the middle one is already over 20, so you don't need to touch it at all, just leave it as 13/20. The first one, all I'm going to do is multiply the bottom number by 4 to get 20. So to keep the fraction the same, it's entirely feasible, you're allowed to multiply the top by 4 as well. So 3 times 4 on the top is 12. That fraction there, it looks different to that, but they are identical fractions. This is over 20. Do the same thing for a half. If I change the 2 to a 20, I have to multiply it by 10. So what I've got to do to keep the half exactly the same, I've got to times the top by 10. As long as I do the same thing to the top and the bottom, either multiply top and bottom by the same thing, or possibly divide top and bottom by the same thing, you're allowed to do that, then the fractions are the same. So times the bottom by 10, times the top by 10. So we get 10/20. Now you can see that we've got 3 fractions all over 20, and it's obvious that in this particular case that the 13/20 is the biggest, the 10/20 or the half is the smallest, and the 3/5 is the one in the middle. So depending on what the question asked, you would then be able to answer the question. So if it said in ascending order, for example, ascending order means you'd put the smallest first. Smallest is 10/20, a half. Next is the 12/20, which is 3/5, and the biggest is the 13/20, which was written as 13/20. There you go, that's in ascending order. If you wanted to put it in descending order, descend means go down. So you just put it the other way around. 13/20 is the biggest, 3/5 is the next, and a half is the smallest. That would be in descending order. Okay? So let's try another one. Let's try question 2 then. Give you 3 fractions. Let's say I give you 3/8. Let's say I give you 7/16. And let's say I give you 3/4, like so. Okay? I've got to compare those 3 fractions. Right, fine. Well, what I'm going to do is try and get them to have the same bottom line. So I'm going to say that this is the same as, and I'm going to figure out the lowest number that they all go into. 8, 16 and 4. The smallest number that they all will go into is the number 16. 8 goes into it twice, 16 goes into it once, and 4 goes into it 4 times. So I'm going to change them all to 16. The 8 is already, sorry, the 8 needs to be doubled to get 16, so I double the top to get 6. So that's the same as that. 16, well, it's already over 16, so leave it entirely the same. The 4 needs to be times by 4 to get 16. So you times the top by 4, you get 12/16. And you can see immediately, here we are, the three of them now are very easy to compare in size. 6/16 is the smallest, 12/16 is the biggest. So if you want to put it in ascending order, it's exactly as it is. If you want to put it in descending order, you just reverse the order. Okay, and it's as simple as that. I won't bother writing this out, it takes too long. Let me squeeze another one in here, number 3. What about, here we go, 7/24 together with 3/12 together with 1/8 together with 1/3. Okay, I have got to now to compare those fractions in size. Well, I would work out the LCM. The LCM, the smallest number that 24, 12, 8 and 3 will all go into. If you know anything about your times tables, you'll know that 24 is the figure to use. 24, that's already 24, so that's fine. Double 12, you get 24. Treble 8, you get 24. Times 3 by 8, you get 24. So I would change them all to over 24. So this would be the same as leave the first one alone. Double the second one to get 24. Let me just get rid of that. Double that, so you double the top to get 6. You need to times that by 3 to get 24, so you times the top by 3. And you need to times that by 8 to get 24, so you times that by 8. So there you go. You've got the comparison of the fractions quite clearly. 3/24 is the smallest, which is 1/8. Quite clearly 8/24 is the biggest, which is 1/3. So if you wanted to put it in ascending order, you'd put 3/24, 1/8 first, then 6/24, 3/12, then you'd put 7/24, which is 7/24, and the biggest one would be 1/3. And if you want it in descending order, you'd put it in the reverse order. And that's it. That's as simple as that. That's how you compare fractions to find out which one's the biggest and how to put them in ascending or descending order. That's the end of this short video.